This is the longest project of my model railroad. As a matter of fact, it never really ends. It's not scenery work, track work, wiring, any of that. It's getting all my rolling stock in order and ready to run on my layout. This video is brought to you by Model Railroad Academy. Model Railroad Academy is your online resource for model railroad instructions, ideas, and information, with loads of tutorials and articles for model railroaders of every skill level. One of my personal favorites is Alan Keller's Great Model Railroads series. It is just so much fun to look at all of these different model railroads from all of these different great model railroaders and just get inspiration from those. Plus, you can find tutorials on everything from bench work to electronics to scenery, all sorts of things there. The first 1,000 people to sign up at the link in the description below will get a full year of premium membership to Model Railroad Academy for $1.49. Offer is valid for new members only. Now, this isn't even close to all of my rolling stock. Seriously, I've got boxes of it here. But this is the amount that I have rip-roaring ready to go on my layout. And I have a few steps that I go through to get everything ready to go on my layout. It involves wheels, couplers, and adding it to my database. Before I begin, I want to say that for the longest time, I did not do anything like this. I just bought the cars and slapped them on the layout as soon as I could get the cases open. And there are tons of model railroaders who do this and will do this the entire time they're a model railroader, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Don't take it any other way. It is perfectly fine if you do this. The reason that I do what I do is that I plan on operating my layout and doing switching regularly, and I've got some features that I need these modifications done for. I want this to run as smoothly as possible, and a degree of standardization is going to help a ton. So let's start with the wheels. Ideally, I want all of my wheel sets to be metal wheel sets. They roll much better, and they allow for current sensing to detect the rolling stock with a few modifications. Now, I did a video on this a long time ago, and I will link it at the end of this video. I will be replacing my wheels with a combination of Fox Valley Models 33-inch standard 0.54-inch length wheels from Scale Trains and some Intermountain ones of the same length and scale. For current sensing to work, you need something that will cause a current draw. Metal wheels have a plastic insulator on one side that keeps them from short-circuiting a DC or DCC layout. I need to bypass that in order to create a current draw. Now, if I just bypass the plastic insulator, we would create a short circuit which would cause the DCC system to click off or potentially damage your system. To keep this from happening, I need to put a resistor within that connection between the wheels to lower the current draw. Typically, a 10 kilo ohm or 10K resistor does the job. Now, you can find resistor wheel sets in HO scale, but there haven't really been any N-scale ones for purchase in a while, so I need to make the modification. I'll be using tiny surface mount resistors. These are the resistors you typically see on circuit boards. I use a tiny amount of super glue to attach the resistor. I place the resistor up against the plastic insulator. I then use some of this electrically conductive paint to make the connections from the pads to the resistors on each side. So one paint goes to the axle and one set of paint goes to the inside of the metal wheel. Make sure that the paint does not touch over that resistor, otherwise you're going to get something like this. Now, the good thing here is you only have to do one axle of your rolling stock for this to work. You do not need to do all of the axles. Also, if your car has features like a lighted passenger car or something like that, that's going to do the same thing that those do, so you don't really need resistors for those. This is an honestly tedious job, and I have been putting it off. But it's time to get it done. And once I am done, then I can just have the supplies on hand so that when I buy new rolling stock, I just do the process to that one or few cars that I have bought. Next up, we need to take a look at couplers. Now, this is a little bit easier and harder at the same time. I standardize mine to microtrains and microtrains compatible couplers. This means things like Atlas Accumates, Broadway Limited couplers, the new Scale Trains couplers they're starting to put on there now. The list goes on and on. Most in-scale couplers will play nice. This includes Athearn, Bachmann, and the new company Aurora Miniatures, which I just purchased my first car from. Very nice, by the way. Really, the couplers I have the most issues with are Kato and the previous generation of Scale Trains couplers. So those will need switching out, and that can be a bit of a job. I also go through and repair and replace any couplers that have been broken or may not be working right. For instance, if I buy some used rolling stock, I go and fix those. The last thing I will do for a car to go into operational rotation on my layout is to put my cars in a car database. This has every freight car that I own that fits my current operation setup and era. I have a load of transition era cars that are not in here, and I will be designing a separate operation for them. By the way, what you just saw was a brand new automated switch list generator that I'm designing in Google Sheets. Be on the lookout for that because that's a big update for the last time I did one. Now that all of this is done, I can build my op sessions with ease and confidence that my rolling stock is going to hold up during the op session. Let me know what kind of things you do to your cars to get them ready to run for operation session, or if you do anything at all, or the things that you look for when you're buying rolling stock to make them easier to operate with. You can do that in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.